What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my hands-on and first impressions video of the Samsung Galaxy A02s. So let's get started. So this is the A02s, one of the most recent budget smartphones from Samsung. Now this is the GSM unlocked international variant of the phone, and I don't know if, when, or ever it's going to be officially launched in the US, but I have linked to it on Samsung's website, so you can take a look at that if you want to learn more about it. Now this phone is pretty interesting because last year we had the A01, but there never was an A01s. So technically there is no specific predecessor to this phone, and in addition to that, we haven't seen any announcements of the regular A02. So I'm not sure what exactly is going on regarding that, but all I know is that we do have the A02s, so I don't know exactly what's going on there. However, one thing's for sure, we've got the A02s right here. Now before we go over the major specifications of this phone, let's take a closer look at everything that comes included in the box. So here is the front of the box. You can see right there, A02s. We have a picture of the phone as well. It does also come in a variety of different colors, and you can learn more about that by taking a look at the link in the video description. So included in the box is a quick start guide. We have a SIM card removal tool. We also have a USB wall adapter with Samsung branding on it. We have a USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. And we have 3.5mm headphones. These headphones do also feature a microphone, which is really awesome to see. But that's everything that does come included in the box, so we do get all the essentials that we do need. Now I do wish that we did get a clear plastic case included, but unfortunately with the A02s, that's not included. Now with this device, we're getting a very large display at 6.5 inches. The display itself is PLS IPS LCD. I think it does look very decent considering that this is a very low-end device from Samsung. The display itself is 720p. We're getting a PPI of 270. We're getting a 20:9 aspect ratio, so a more narrow but taller form factor. And we're getting an 81.8% screen to body ratio. Now you probably noticed already that we do have a water drop notch up top, and then a little bit of a thicker bottom bezel. So when comparing this device to the A01, we are getting a pretty similar design, but this phone does feel a bit more premium. Now stay tuned though for my full comparison video between the A02s versus the A01. That's going to be out very shortly. So having a big display like this is great for content consumption, and again, even though it is 720p, things do look decently crisp and clear here, and in general, when looking at the display, it certainly doesn't feel low quality. Now in that water drop notch up top, we do have a 5 megapixel front-facing camera. Now this variant of the phone is the 64GB variant that does come with 4GB of RAM. However, there's another variant that features 32GB of internal storage and 3GB of RAM. So definitely keep that in mind. Now if this phone does get launched on carriers in the US, then I'm guessing that they would go with the variant that has 32 gigs of internal storage and 3 gigs of RAM. But we'll have to see how that plays out since nothing has been announced about this phone making its way over to carriers in the US. But considering that this variant of the phone does feature 64GB of storage, that definitely is very impressive. We're also getting microSD card expansion with this device as well, so you do have the ability to expand on that storage that we're already getting. Now since getting this phone, I have installed a variety of my favorite applications, and then of course we are getting the system software and other pre-installed apps. So with all of that combined, you can see that out of the 64 gigs, 17.8 gigabytes has been used already. So I certainly am very grateful that they are offering this phone in a 64GB variant, because I really do feel like 32 gigs nowadays is definitely not enough. Especially as apps get bigger and bigger, as they have been over the last 5 to 10 years, it's becoming more and more apparent that 64 gigs really ought to be the minimum nowadays. But if you do end up getting the 32GB variant of the phone, then I definitely wish you the best. Now with this device, there is no wireless charging. There's also no fingerprint sensor, but the phone does feature face unlock. So let's give that a try right now. And the face unlock is actually very impressive with the device. It was very fast to set things up. And as far as actually using face unlock with the phone, I do feel like it does unlock pretty quickly. Obviously, having my camera kind of in between me and the actual phone itself does kind of slow things down when it comes to using Face Unlock for demonstration purposes, but you can see even with that, it does unlock pretty quickly here. So it's not necessarily the end of the world that there is no fingerprint sensor, but of course, it would have been nice to still have one. Now, taking a look at the back of the device, we do have a triple camera setup. We're getting a 13 megapixel main camera, a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera for portrait mode, and a 2 megapixel macro camera. So it would have been nice to get an ultra wide angle camera with this device, but compared to last year's Galaxy A01, we are at least gaining the macro camera. Now again, this phone is one of the most affordable options from Samsung, at least for devices being launched in 2021. So my expectations going into this were already very low. Obviously, to get more features, you're gonna have to go with a higher tier A series phone, because this one again is at the bottom of them all. But here's how things look on the camera app on the device. So we do have live focus portrait mode, which is enabled right now. We can also switch over to the standard photo mode as well. And you're definitely able to take some nice looking photos with the phone itself. Now I am looking forward to going out and taking a variety of different test photos and videos to prepare for the full review of the phone. So definitely stay tuned for that. Now you can go over to the More tab to access the macro camera. And then once that's enabled, you can get very close up to take photos in very good detail. Then from here, we can also flip around to the front-facing camera and take some selfies. There's also beauty mode, which I need to disable here. Not really a big fan of that. They always make it kind of difficult to turn off beauty mode. There we go. Now it's off. So this is what I really look like. But from here, we can switch over to live focus portrait mode to take selfies with those blurred out backgrounds as well. So definitely quite a few different options when it comes to taking photos and videos with the Samsung Galaxy A02s. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is the 4GB variant of the phone, and they do have another variant that does have 3GB. Now, the processor that we're getting with this device is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 450. And what's interesting about the 450 is that that's the same processor that we got with last year's Samsung Galaxy A11. So it looks like they took many of the same internal components that we got with the A11 and then shifted them over to the A02s. But in general, the 450 isn't anything too special. However, it's not too bad for a very entry-level device like this one. In fact, if you're familiar with the LG Stylo 5, that phone actually has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 450 processor as well, despite that phone originally being marketed as being a mid-range device. But again, that's still not saying much because the 450 isn't anything too special. But I did run a Geekbench 5 benchmark test here with the phone, and I got a single core score of 129 and a multi-core score of 488. So what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone and then comparing your scores to these scores to get a better idea of if the Galaxy A02s would indeed be a performance upgrade for you. Now, as far as video recording goes with this device, it does max out at 1080p with both the front and rear cameras. This phone does have a very massive battery, which is very impressive. The battery capacity is 5,000 milliamp hours, and the phone does support 15-watt fast charging. So if you are looking for a phone that's going to provide you with phenomenal battery life, then I would say that the A02s is probably one of your most affordable options. Now, the software on here is Android 10 running Samsung Skin, and I'm not sure if, when, or ever the phone's going to be getting Android 11, but I certainly hope that it does eventually happen. But now that we've gone over the major specifications of the phone, let's take a closer look at the hardware. So I've already talked quite a bit about the front panel here. It is a pretty good looking display, so I don't have any complaints about it. Taking a look at the left side of the phone, we have the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. Then, on the right side of the phone, we have the power button, volume down and volume up. Then up top here, we have the noise canceling microphone. Then, on the bottom of the device, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and we have the speaker. So it is very nice to see that we are getting USB-C, because I know with last year's Galaxy A01, at least for the international variant of the phone, we did get micro USB. Now thankfully, when the A01 was eventually launched on US carriers, that variant of the device did get USB-C, but it's great to see that the international variant of the A02s does come with USB-C. The more phones that have USB-C, the better, that's for sure. And then taking a look at the back side of the phone, we just have the triple camera setup and the flash and then the Samsung logo. The phone is made completely out of plastic besides the display, which is glass, and we do have a pretty cool pattern on the back of the phone. And I also appreciate that it's not a glossy finish, so it's not really going to pick up too many fingerprints at all. But I'm looking forward to creating more content on the channel about the Samsung Galaxy A02s in the future. This definitely seems like a very promising budget device from Samsung, and I'm really curious to see what other A-series phones the company launches this year. So far, at the time of me recording this video, we have the Galaxy A42 5G, we also have the Galaxy A12, and from what I've heard, the A72 and the A52 and also the A32 are going to be out very shortly. So I'm definitely looking forward to covering all those various A-series phones here on the channel. So definitely make sure to subscribe. But this is Kevin here, coming at you with my hands-on and first impressions video of the Samsung Galaxy A02s. And I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.